Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to Red Pill 78, the corruption detector. I'm your host, and we have some breaking news just appearing on Twitter. According to congressional sources, Representative Adam Schiff used taxpayer money to reach a sexual harassment settlement with a 19-year-old male in 2013. As to date, there are dozens of settlements being hidden from the American people. This story is currently developing. I just thought that it was important enough to bring it to you right now. I went and did a little bit more research trying to find anything that people have written about this. Nothing so far has come to light, but there is an article about Adam Schiff's behavior when he was slightly younger. Looks like right around 25 years ago. Schiff has been known to be outspoken in his criticism of President Donald Trump. And we also know from the Q posts that there is some strange happenings that took place with Adam Schiff at a certain hotel in Los Angeles. But this story tells us a little bit more. In right around November, December 1992, Adam Schiff, age 32, then a young prosecutor from California, visits Romania as an expert of the USAID American Bar Association Central and East European Law Initiative. Between 91 and 94, ABA CEELI was involved in legal efforts in Romania and other East European countries. Its earliest efforts took the form of technical legal assistance workshops in the area of constitutional drafting and judicial restructuring. You can see more here in this article. This document. Back then, the author was working as a senior researcher for the Romanian Academy Institute of Legal Research in Bucharest. In that capacity, I was offering legal expertise and support in translation, interpreting for various NGOs, including the Pro-Democracy Association, International Foundation for Electoral Systems, and others. During one of these workshops, I met Adam Schiff personally. I remember him as a pleasant conversational guy, an energetic and bright jurist. One evening, after the end of a workshop, he returned to his hotel, downtown Bucharest, accompanied by me and other 2 or 3 ADP fellow colleagues, including one of the NGO female board members. I would call her, for now, CS. In front of the hotel, he asked her, in the presence of the group, to accompany him inside in order to, quote-unquote, continue the discussion. The request was made politely, but in a soft voice. She politely refused. He insisted, continuing to smile politely with those dead eyes of his. She declined again, after which he wished us a good night and entered the hotel a bit disappointed. The episode left us with a bitter taste and a deep feeling of embarrassment. It was not the way a hard-working day was supposed to end. To lighten up the atmosphere a bit, I invited the group to my place for dinner, where we shared more positive impressions from the United States, all of us having the opportunity to travel there before. During that time, Romanians didn't use the term sexual harassment for unwanted sexual advances. The term was coined later, also a result of the U.S. workshops in the area. The moral of the story is, if Democrats rushed into attempts, since the Congress votes are not there, to impeach the president on unsubstantiated Russia collusion or sexual harassment claims, they would certainly step into a very, very large minefield. Excellent. I cannot wait to see how this one pans out. All right, and then the next story I wanted to cover is a frightening tale out of France. French family adopts 16-year-old African migrant with receding hairline and bags under his eyes. Let's take a look at the youngster. Oh, geez. That guy, if he's 16 years old, then I'm 22. Okay. Do you guys think this is a good idea? I think that this is the kind of stuff that makes me cringe. I can't believe it when I see it, but this is more and more common across Europe. You've got migrants that are claiming to be juveniles so that they can receive the benefits of coming across as a child migrant. Clearly, this man is not 16 years old, and these people have no idea what they're in for. They are clueless. A French school teacher adopted what appears to be a 30-year-old grown-up man posing as a 16-year-old refugee to live with her and her 4 daughters in their home. This comes from a story called In Bayonne, a family welcomes a Cameroonian minor. Is it legal? We did not ask the question. And this was translated from French. Since the summer of 2018, hundreds of young migrants from sub-Saharan Africa have arrived in Bayonne, 30 kilometers from the Spanish border. Some of them were welcomed by local families. This is the case of Ulrich, a Cameroonian minor aged 16, who was welcomed by Stephanie and Pierre, parents of 4 children. When Ulrich, a 16-year-old Cameroonian, arrived in Bayonne on 24 October, he was thinking of continuing to Paris to find a solution to his difficult life. After 2.5 years spent on the migration routes through Nigeria, Niger, Algeria, Morocco, and Spain, Ulrich is determined to travel the last kilometers to the French capital, the place where in his dreams, he says, men walk with their heads up. But on October 24th, his plans took another direction. After spending the first night outside, Place de Basques, where with 3 of his comrades, Ulrich and his friends crossed the path of Stephanie, a Bayonne teacher involved in a local network of migrants. She offers them to come wash at her house and then spend the night there. More than a month later, Ulrich is still there. His friends, on the other hand, continued their journey or were welcomed elsewhere. Hosting, it was not an easy decision, explains Stephanie, mother of 4 girls, but we found ourselves upset by the situation of these young people. Although we read articles on the migration situation, we do not know what it is until we have met it with our eyes. One look at his eyes shows he's around 30 years old. This guy is clearly in his 30s. Oh, here's a closer one. Look at that. When I was 16, I didn't have a line on my face. Now, granted, he's got some soft, supple skin, but the eyes tell everything you need to know. Oh, my God. He has bags under his eyes and wrinkles on his forehead. His hairline is receding. He's clearly capable of growing a full beard, and his body size is at least equal in stature to the father. I always dreamed of having a big brother. In the cozy apartment of Stephanie's family, in the heart of the historic district of Little Bayonne, the young Cameroonian quickly made his mark. In Bayonne, I discovered a real warm welcome. At first, I was reserved. I did not want to open myself. But given the behavior of Stephanie and her family, I understood that I was with good people, says the young man. The arrival of this big, sweet-eyed fellow in the home where 4 girls grew up has changed some of the family's habits. We never imagined that we would welcome a migrant one day, said Peter, Stephanie's husband, in a burst of laughter. But the upheaval of his arrival is very small compared to all we can. The young man who is able to enroll in 3rd in a private college can finally blow. Stephanie and Pierre have offered him to stay the time he wants. Okay. Google Translate is not perfect, obviously. I do not consider ourselves an adoptive family, says Stephanie, because Ulrich already has a family. We are his home. Everyone is aware of the volatility of the situation. Ulrich has still not been recognized as a minor. And I doubt he will. Stephanie helps her with her administrative tasks. Helps him with her administrative tasks. But the record is complicated. The boy must prove that he is under 18 and fight against his status of Dublin. The fingerprints of Ulrich have been registered in Spain according to the Dublin agreements, so his asylum application depends on the Iberian Peninsula. Is it legal to welcome him? We did not ask ourselves the question. Hayes, 15, the last of the family to live in the apartment, is thrilled at the coming of Ulrich. When at a family meal, they asked me if I accepted to welcome him. I realized that I was going to leave my comfort zone. But if it is to offer a comfort zone to someone, that's not much. So I said yes. She smiles before letting go, the firm tone. And then I always dreamed of having a brother. Her 3 sisters and she agreed to give him one of their rooms. Is it legal to welcome him? Pierre asked. In the Basque County, we have always harbored people in the illegal, given the history of the other side of the world, border, especially in the era of Francoism. This is having a daddy, not a brother. Before arriving in Bayonne, Ulrich claims to have experienced a terrible ordeal on the road. Between the Niger and Algeria in the desert, he saw many people die, including women and children. The worst for him is his stay in Morocco, where he spent more than a year. I was psychologically sacked by this country. We were hiding in the forest between Nador and Tangier. We were fleeing the police, who often beat us. Odds are he was one of these recent migrant armies who illegally jumped the border in Spain. Oh, God. Oh, God. Man, these guys are excited. We made it. All of them 16. Every single one. Wow. These guys are all adults. Look at this. Oh, hide your wife, hide your kids. Here's another one. Oh, that guy's only 14. This guy, he's from the army. Wow. Come to France to study. Ulrich does not regret having left Cameroon. He feels that he had no choice, but he regrets that people are forced to flee their country without being really threatened. So why did he leave his country if he's not really threatened? I left Dibomabari, a village 38 kilometers from Dula in the west, because of the insecurity. At the death of my father, my uncle took care of us, but soon he threatened to. When I was 9, he forced me out of school, and I did not enjoy my freedom. I wanted to come to France to become someone. I wanted to study here before I went back to school, Cameroon, to help my family. He has to help his uncle who abused him. Who is his family? Does he have his own kids and a wife at home he ditched so he could become someone in Europe? Ulrich, who keeps his feet on the ground, does not want to worry. With all that I've experienced on the road, I've been thinking for a long time that no matter what happens, you have to go on, for good or bad. I learned a lot in my journey, which made from me what I am today. Well, at least he's got a good attitude. The distance from Cameroon to France is some 4,426 kilometers by plane. So yeah, no doubt it took him 4 years to walk that distance. Oh, Lord. Mr. Ulrich apparently couldn't be safe in neighboring Nigeria, which has the largest GDP in all of Africa, nor could he find refuge in Chad or Niger, which just adopted a law to protect and assist Africans fleeing violence, floods, and droughts, or Libya or Kenya or anywhere else nearby. It had to be France. Wow, this is an impressive map here. It shows the landmass of each of these different countries and how it fits inside of Africa. Lord, look at that. I've never seen that before. That's incredible. China is enormous. I had no idea Africa was larger than China. I feel a little ignorant, but you learn something new every day. No, sir, the only place he could take refuge is in Europe, and not boring old Spain. He had to go to France where he could strike it big. Judging by the situation he's found himself in, it looks like he's hit the jackpot. I'd have to say so. Good luck to you, young Ulrich. If anyone has a comment on this story or on the Adam Schiff story, please leave it in the comments below. Once again, thank you for joining me. I am the Corruption Detector, and you're listening to Red Pill 78.